Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta? What do you get when you cross a fish and an elephant? Swimming trunks. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know. Ask the bird. He just flew over from Brazil to tell me a joke. What did the left eye say to the right eye? Between you and me, something smells. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? A carrot. Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one. What's the most detail you can remember about your first kiss? Was it in a forest? Who was it with? What were you wearing? How old were you? Let me guess. You were 13. It was in a forest. And you were wearing a leather jacket. The moon shone through my bedroom window, bathing my face in its cold light as I stared at the ceiling. Rain lashed against the glass pane, a melancholic soundtrack to the storm that was brewing inside me. I was torn. My entire world was crashing down around me, and I felt like I had no one. Nothing except the thoughts racing through my mind. I knew I had to make a choice, one that would change my life forever. The decision was, stay or go. Stay in the town I'd called home for 26 years, the place where I had my roots, my memories, my fears, or go. Leave it all behind and start over somewhere, someplace new. As the night wore on, the rain outside intensified, mimicking the turmoil in my soul. Each drop a teardrop, each gust of wind a sigh of anguish. I tossed and turned in my bed, the sheets a battlefield where my dreams were laid to rest. Sleep, that elusive visitor, refused to come. My eyes, they were open, staring blankly at the darkness above me. In that desolate darkness, I saw my life flash before my eyes, each moment a ghost whispering stories of who I'd been, who I am, and who I could be. My life in this town was like a well-worn book. Every page held a story, every corner a memory. There was the treehouse I built with my brother, our laughter echoing through its planks. The old swing set in the park where I confessed my first love under the cloak of dusk. The cobblestone streets where I strolled hand in hand with my best friends, our secrets carried by the wind. And then there were the ghosts of heartaches, the places where dreams were deferred and hopes were dashed, the closed doors of opportunities that never came, the faded photographs of loved ones lost, the unkept promises that hung in the air like the scent of decay. Each place, each moment was a torment, a reminder of a life lived, a life that was now slipping through my fingers like sand. But there was another book, one I hadn't read, its pages unwritten, its spine untouched. A book that lay dormant within me, waiting to be opened. It represented the unknown, the unexplored territories of my soul. The journey outward, away from the familiarity of my past, beckoned to me like a siren's call. The allure of the new, the exciting, the terrifying prospect of what could be if I dared to step into the unknown. My thoughts were a tempest, my heart a ship tossed on a stormy sea. Fear gnawed at me, whispering tales of uncertainty and doubt. What if I ventured forth and found nothing but disappointment and despair? What if the road ahead was littered with more heartaches than happiness? The fear was a tangible thing, a dark cloud that threatened to engulf me, to snuff out the tiny flame of hope that flickered within me. Yet something else stirred within me, a force as powerful as fear, determination. I was tired of living in the shadows of my past. I was done being haunted by the ghosts that had become my constant companions. It was time to break free from the chains that bound me to this town, this life, this pain. I got out of bed, the worn carpet beneath my feet grounding me to the present. The decision had been made. I was going. I packed my belongings, each item a token of a life I was leaving behind. Clothes, books, photographs, they all went into the suitcase, becoming smaller with each passing moment as I mentally prepared myself for what lay ahead. I left behind the house where I grew up, the place filled with echoes of laughter and sorrow. As I drove away, the town seemed to shrink in the rearview mirror, its boundaries blurring until it became nothing but a distant memory. The road stretched before me, long and winding, just like the path of my life, full of twists and turns that I couldn't predict. Days turned into weeks as I traveled, the landscape changing, but my feelings remaining a constant. The fear was still there, lurking in the corners of my mind, but it no longer had the power to consume me. I was stronger now, more resilient. One day, the terrain shifted, and I found myself in a valley nestled between rolling hills. A river meandered through it, its water sparkling in the sunlight. In the distance, I saw a quaint town, its houses like scattered jewels against the emerald backdrop of nature. This was it. This was where I was meant to be. This town welcomed me with open arms, its people kind and warm. I found a cozy cottage with a garden that mirrored the colors in my soul. The air here was sweet, carrying the scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass. It was a stark contrast to the stale atmosphere of the town I had left behind. As I settled into my new home, I began to heal. The wounds of the past were still there, but they no longer bled. The scars had become faint lines, reminders of battles fought and won. I started to explore my surroundings, each step a discovery, each view a revelation. There were hiking trails that led to breathtaking vistas, whispering trees that shared their wisdom in the rustling of their leaves, and rivers that reflected the ever-changing colors of the sky. Nature was my solace, my guide, my teacher. I learned to find joy in the simplest of things, the chirping of birds, the soft glow of dawn, the company of trees that had stood the test of time. With each passing day, I felt myself grow, not just as a person, but as a soul. I was shedding the old skin, the one that was filled with regrets and disappointments, and emerging anew, stronger, wiser, more compassionate. It had been 2 years since I first set foot in this town. 2 years of healing, growth, and self-discovery. The pain of the past was now a distant echo, a whisper that I could no longer hear. I had found peace, not by running away from my problems, but by running towards myself. I stood on a hill overlooking the town, the wind tousling my hair, carrying my scent to the far corners of the earth. Below me, the town bustled with life, its people going about their daily routines, their laughter mingling with the music drifting from open windows. I smiled. This was my home now, my sanctuary, my haven. I had found myself in the most unexpected of places, in the quiet solitude of nature's embrace. Looking back, I realized that my journey had been worth every tear, every moment of fear and uncertainty. The pain had led me here, to this very spot, where I could finally breathe, finally be myself without apologies, without reservations. I had chosen to walk away from everything I once knew, and in doing so, I had found something far greater, a connection with myself, with the rhythm of the earth, with the symphony of existence. I was part of something bigger than myself, a tapestry woven with threads of countless lives, each contributing to the grand design. The fear of the unknown had propelled me forward, forcing me to confront my deepest fears and break free from the shackles that had imprisoned my soul. In the depths of my despair, I had found strength, a strength that had carried me through the darkest of nights and led me to this moment of triumph. The journey had been arduous, a trek through valleys of despair and up mountains of hope, but the view from the summit was breathtaking, a panorama of life that unfolded before me in all its beauty and wonder. I had discovered a resilience within myself that I never knew existed, a tenacity of spirit that had kept me going when all seemed lost. The scars of the past were now badges of honor, testaments to the battles fought and won. They whispered stories of courage, of perseverance, of a soul that refused to be broken. I had embraced the unknown, danced with fear, and in doing so had emerged victorious. The choice to stay or go had been one of the most significant moments of my life. And now, standing here, I knew I had made the right decision. Staying would have meant stagnation, a life half-lived, a potential unrealized. Going had been terrifying, yet exhilarating. It was the leap of faith that had set my soul on fire, igniting a passion for life that burned brightly within me. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty, they had all been part of a greater plan, a plan that had led me to this place of serenity, this moment of self-realization. I was home, not in a place, but within myself. And that, I realized, was the greatest homecoming of all.